Thank you very much. May all our guests please take your seats. We are about to start. The program is about to commence. We will be receiving the patron and his entourage in a moment. As they come through, we will request all our guests to rise to receive them. Immediately after that, as you are standing, we will have a moment of silence for our departed mayors and the national anthem, and then we will again ask you to take your seats. The process is very simple. Please put your respective phones. I know most of you are trending. Please put your phones on mute so that you can continue communicating. As you have been listening to the nice play and the performance by our one and only Sipho Mabuza. At this juncture, allow me to allow the protocol team to usher our guests and the patron. As I said, we are about to start. Presidential Library, you will see that there are exhibitions. Please, after the proceedings has commenced, and you can tour the site and see the exhibitions that is at display. Very memorial pieces of information for your consumptions and also for the future. I must also say you do know that you are sitting now in the garden. Very soon where you are sitting, it will be part of the Thabo Mbeki Presidential Library. And I'm sure as you take your selfies and as you interact, you will recall this day in the future, and in the very near future. Please rise. As we receive our guest and the patron with his entourage, we will remain standing for a moment of silence in honor of our departed executive mayors of the city of Johannesburg, our departed heroes and heroines in this special occasion. Please, let's take a moment of silence. Thank you very much. As you remain standing, the national anthem will be played.
Let us all unite and celebrate together.
chairperson of Tabombeki Foundation, Dr. Brigalia Bam.
Kind of a lifetime kind of thing. I've seen libraries which look horrible, dilapidated, not looked after. And library, the first thing you see is when you enter the yard. And so when you look at the lawn, look at the things that have been taken care of, it's a home. A library is a home. By the time you get to the books, you've come to a home first. So it is much more deep what you have done to partner this foundation in this kind of project specifically. I don't want to say feel honored that the library is in Johannesburg. So I thank for everyone that comes our way. And so I have to say thank you very much. We really appreciate that. And welcome to everybody who's here. We feel very special. It's a great day, I must say. And thank you very much. We really feel honored that you thought this is important for you to be here. And thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sarobe. I'm sure most of us would want to have an understanding of why we are here. At this juncture, may I call your attention to the displays of the presentation to be followed by Advocate Max Bokwana, who's the CEO of the foundation.
When you come to Johannesburg, you can feel the energy.
It's like where the gold is. When you want to make it in life, Joburg is the place.
It has so much culture and it's really gorgeous.
Soweto is amazing. I love being in Soweto.
We've got a lot of originality here. There's love, there's art, there's fashion.
This is the pulse of Africa that needs to be explored.
Joburg is made of stars, you know? They influence the whole world.
Soweto is such an exciting place for a traveler. There's just so much to discover.
3, 2, 1. I love the energy of Soweto.
This is bananas!
My favorite place here has to be Brown.
I like to come to a place where I can just be me.
Soweto is a melting pot.
Desmond Tutu was here, Mandela was here. They love the food when they come here to Sakumzi.
Joburg is life.
It's vibrant, lots and lots of fun. It has so much culture.
It's the hidden gem.
Meet new friends every single day.
It's amazing.
I love it.
Come and join us.
Excellency, Minister, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. One of the great joys of having the honor of being in the presence of such a great man of the continent is always hearing these incredible tales and stories that always, I don't think I've ever had one meeting with you where I've not learned something new, so I just wanted to say that. It's an incredible honor and privilege to be working on this project because for me it goes to the heart of the Renaissance that I believe that the continent must start to look at in the 21st century. I've just left my pointer on the table just as I was being very serious, so forgive me. The opportunity for me when I was asked to look at this project was more than just to make a container, a building, but it seemed that the very brief that the president and his team were asking was to imagine a way of using architecture which has always been the device that's been used to define epochs, ages, times, to see if architecture could be marshaled to also make a form that could create a new image of what this particular library seeks to be about. The site is in the beautiful neighborhood of Riviera in Gauteng, in this beautiful city. And it's striking because, can I move to the next one? Thank you. It's striking because it's a neighborhood with incredible mature trees and landscapes, a history of architecture that moves from its origins as, you know, in the 15th century farms. It was really a place of settlement, becoming much more organized as farms before becoming a suburb and a neighborhood of the city. So when I am looking at this site, I'm also looking at the extraordinary geological time that exists here and the way in which people live on land. The site is in an urban condition, but is on Main Avenue and North Avenue. It's lucky, blessed to have a frontage onto Main Avenue. So we're able to make a civic front to the building to welcome everybody. But the building is conceived not just as a front and back, but a form that is to be engaged with in the round. The site is where the current foundation is and will really make use of this extraordinary urban block with its extraordinary foliage and gardens and create the center within a landscape that will allow for scholarly study, debate, not just in the building, but also to use the landscape and the space as a teaching tool, as a space of debate and discussion. When I started to look at this with all my work, I really I'm obsessed with the artifacts and the research of the continent, as most of you might know. And I seek not to, in my work, sort of go into just my imagination and draw, but to see if there are lessons from the past that can guide the way we look into the future. When I was asked to do this work, the idea of looking back at the architecture of the civilizations and the gatherings and the communities of the continent, of course, came to mind. I looked at tombs and palaces, I looked at farmhouses, I looked everywhere and realized that that these were specific forms and this type of building was something new that required its own articulation. In the end, what struck me when looking between the images of the vernacular architecture was to notice that in all the communities of our continent, the science of the habitation of those communities was the ability to cultivate the land and to live with the land. And the secrets of those was the technology that had, as it were, sustained those communities, the migrations that came down from the north to the south. That technology is what was brought with those communities and also subsequent generations, the migrations that have made this great country. So in a way, for me, it seemed like that the answer was staring right in front of me, but it was not what I thought it was. The answer seemed to be that we were talking about creating another store, another space of knowledge. That the knowledge, this time, is not a granary store where one keeps the seed for the future generation, which sustains them and nourishes them and allows them to continue, but a different seed, a seed of the knowledge of the works of the great liberations and movements on the great work of His Excellency. Once that idea became clear, it felt like the building unfolded itself. The beautiful program of the building encompasses, as the President said, the ability to gather, to debate, to have libraries, to have in-depth research, to have exhibition spaces, to have a place just of conviviality, to eat and rest and to reflect, to have a space that has the ability to have performance, but also a serious place where the study, archiving, and the maintenance of these documents is also kept. The proposal is to make 8 what I call knowledge stores that sit on a plinth in this neighborhood. These 8 new chambers become the rooms of the program that I've just outlined: the auditorium, the great library hall, the women's center, the exhibition space, etc. Each one is articulated with a zenithal light that will give it a unique atmosphere. So though there are 8 arranged as a pair, almost as if they're male and female, 4 and 4, they are each articulated with a particular atmosphere and create an ensemble that makes an axis with North Street, but face Main, but also create a stage and a grounds to the inner part of the composition. So this is an overview, looking down on it. And the thinking is to really make something that really understands the genesis of that form, but also creates an architecture that is radically sustainable, reinvigorates the technology of understanding the use of our earth as the primary resource, the ability to make spaces that allow inside and outside engagement, but to make a dignity also in those spaces that creates a new engagement. This is just a slice to show you the program. It's not to go into any detail, but you can see how what I'm calling the history of these one-room forms of our heritage can make these incredible chambers, which interlock and create interlocking spaces, but also create their own distinct rooms for reflection or for debate or for exhibition or for arrival. The plinth contains the hard work of the storage, the exhibition spaces, the presidential library, as it were, this sort of display of the president's history, present and post-presidential life, and connects with the network that is being discussed, outlined, the library in the university library, etc. This is the kind of engine that is the base that makes the upper buildings work. This is a sort of slice through that. You can start to see what we're trying to do. This will be probably in the country the first net zero building. So it will be carbon neutral, and it will really show a new, we believe, a sort of renewed, not new, a renewed attitude to an architecture that was always here, all over the continent, but also specifically here. I'll quickly go through a series of views from the street. These incredible rooms where one is at once looking at a future, but also seeing a past. able to articulate each of the spaces differently to allow for gatherings, to allow for events, but each with this sort of zenithal light that I spoke about, the specific light. We want an atmosphere that encourages excellence, in those who are engaged with the work. And we hope that the project becomes a very important seed in the renaissance of architecture and the work that is being discussed in this library that needs to be catalyzed all over the continent.
Advocate Bokwana.
I also want to join the MC and Gloria in welcoming you on behalf of our foundation and the city of Johannesburg in this what I regard as a working session. It's a working session because we need to have a conversation with each and every one of you to decide how exactly are you going to individually and collectively contribute to the realization of what has just been displayed. And I also thanks those of you that on a very short notice managed to be here, like Ambassador Mpungwe here from Tanzania, and Didier here from Brazzaville, and Banab from the DRC. So it's really a Pan-African event that we are having today. The partnership that we are concluding today is a tribute to both councillors, Jeff Makubu and Jolie Dimatongo. Indeed, may their souls rest in eternal peace. We approached Councillor Makubu on the 20th of November 2020 for a courtesy call together with the MC here and Sir David Ajay. We had done something wrong when we approached him. We had made the designs to include a piece of land that doesn't belong to us. and that we did despite the fact that we had lawyers that were advising us differently at the foundation. But also we had a Christian leadership like Dr. Bam here and Pani Pichana. And when they say, you must act now and ask for forgiveness later. So we went there to Ambassador Makubo to ask for forgiveness. So instead of chastising us for what we have done, he endorsed this project to work with us to identify the needs of the Presidential Library, to assess the city's capabilities to provide the requisite support, and if common ground is found, for us to conclude a binding agreement. The officials of the city therefore joined us in designing a sustainability strategy for the project, and we were able to identify our needs and the offerings from the city. Wherefore the agreement we are signing today, which was at the end of that discussion endorsed by Councillor Matongo, includes, amongst others, the donation of the piece of land at the corner of Main and North Avenue, which is about 1,900 square meters by way of a long lease. And it completes the design that David has done. Also, the collaboration between ourselves is to ensure that the town planning division within the city and the town planners of the Thabo Mbeki Foundation are going to work together seamlessly to ensure that we meet the deadlines. The city also committed to provide support to the project. Missing anything, or if I've included things that you were not supposed to include, we will just sign an addendum. And also within the city's own marketing program to promote the center as a destination for cultural heritage and tourism purposes. More importantly, honored guests, this collaboration communicates an important message that the leadership of the city where the project is going to be built is fully behind us. It now makes things easier for us to go and solicit further support, knowing that we are welcomed at home. And those of you that knows the biblical injunction that there is no prophet that is welcomed in his own town, in his own time. Here we are welcomed in our own town and in our own time. This further indicates that the idea of building a center dedicated to Africa's Renaissance is one whose time has come, and it actually resonates with the city's own mantra of a world-class African city. I heard this from Councillor Parkstown many years ago. So by this act here today, the city of Johannesburg joined other partners whose commitment to this project took us to where we are today, confident that this project will be achieved within the stipulated time frames. Amongst those partners is the University of South Africa, which is our intellectual partner responsible for content management and future operationalization of the library. The presidency, through the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, has endorsed this project and has acted practically by providing the financial support. And we are working together with them on some of the programs that we can start as early as possible, because our understanding of this as a living library, it's not just the walls, but the programs that will come out of it. A number of companies, including mining companies, who have provided financial support, and some of those that are working with us, co-curating the history of mining as the foundation of our economy, especially in this town. Also looking at the good, the bad, and the ugliness of such history. Numerous corporates, families, organizations, individuals, including students and learners, whose names will be permanently etched in this center. We are working with a number of ICT companies who are today hard at work to ensure that the library is inspired by technology and will be accessible to millions of schools and centers around the continent and the diaspora. As a foundation, many knows that we have no ambitions of being the exclusive owners of this project. We are content, simple being the sponsors and project leaders. But in reality, this belongs to all Africans world over, and it will be our collective gift to future generations. We do this because we are all bound by the common love for our continent and commitment to its renaissance. Wherefore, the work of this library is less about the past than about the present and the future we are shaping. This will be where we mine the past solely for the purpose of building a better future. The next major step, therefore, in our work, and I see our construction team is here, is that in the first quarter of 2022, we will start with the demolition of all of these beautiful sites in preparation for what Sir David has so aptly articulated. And we expect that the first phase of the construction will be completed by September 2024. And that's the day that we will celebrate. And that's the day that will not be a working session. And Putsipo here will play music, at least not for one day, but more than 2 days. For us to be able to meet this deadline, we need support from many of you that are here today, and those listening from afar, both in cash and in kind. We are currently discussing with many others the ways of giving and recognition. We are once again glad that the city of Johannesburg has agreed to this collaboration, which will make it possible for us to host the current collections of thousands of artifacts, written material, covering the pre-presidency, presidents, and post-presidency thoughts, ideas, outputs, challenges, and acts of passion by President Mbeki for this country and the continent. This has already made it possible that we put this President Mbeki as a peg in terms of collecting the other materials from other leaders of the continent. We have already stated that, as you can see in the display, that President Nkrumah's material has found a home here. Myself and Ambassador Mpung were there. We are finalizing the repatriation or sharing of Mwalimu Nyerere's material to be here. Ebisi here has been to Zambia as an unmandated ambassador of the foundation, and he called me whilst he was sitting with Sunday and other members of the Kaunda family, making the arrangements for President Kaunda's manuscripts and other material from President Kaunda to be here. So is the many works and voices of many Africans that are finding their expression here. In the end, the noble goal of this project is interpreted so well by Sir David Ajayi when he referred to it as the container and storage of knowledge for future generations, and bringing together fragments of our continent. And it is also summarized, I think, aptly by President Mbeki when he says that the Thabo Mbeki Presidential Library will benefit scholars, intellectuals, students, and the general public by being an interactive center of learning, of research and discourse for the attainment of the African Renaissance, by serving as an access point to similar institutions that are part of the virtual global library, by being accessible place for Africans and global citizens to engage with issues of the African liberation struggle and how Africa can attain its renaissance. It will do so by providing a space for intergenerational engagement and interaction, and by creating a space for the youth to develop their understanding of the continent from an early age. We are therefore convinced that this work must be done by Africans themselves to engender both a sense of self-reliance and ownership of both our heritage and our history. And therefore, the work of creating this space starts now, and it starts with all of us that are here today. Beyond this milestone, we need to engage practically with each one of you present today on your individual and collective participation in building this place that can hold us all. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, CEO. And I don't want to be unfair to my brother, comrade, friend, the MEC, because I want him to digest exactly what has been said. Because my CEO said it is the working session. So Councillor MEC Dow, I decided to bring sticks so we can digest how are you going to respond to the challenge. In the meantime, you may also follow us on hashtag Thabo Mbeki Presidential Library and hashtag welcome to Joburg. Thank you very much, Bravo Sticks.
I don't understand why you couldn't call me your friend, your comrade, you know. Is it because I'm not wearing a suit today? I'm his comrade, I worked with him. So he only tells people in private that. And of course, Comrade Parks knows the story. Mr. President, it's always an honor to be in your presence. They say, when you are in the presence of greatness, salute yourself. I think we've arrived. We have arrived, because not everybody gets this opportunity to perform for such an audience. Unfortunately, the reason we've actually pushed this is so that our beautiful harp player could demonstrate her ability to the president and everybody here, because she has to leave. But I'd also like all my colleagues who are here to be cheered up. Thank you guys for your patience. In the struggle, it's called sabotage. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this is really, it disturbs us if things don't go the right way. Tommy, can we please get it right? You only have one song to perform.
Thank you very much, Ntate Mabuse. Indeed, one day the story of this, the University of Johannesburg's Soweto campus ambassador will be told also within the precinct of this Epicentre for African Renaissance. Honorable MEC Pakstau, it will be important that as we invite you to acknowledge that and to remind the CEO that indeed when we started the process and directed by the foundation to consider some partnerships, we did meet with yourself and you did visit President Mbeki and make those commitments. I'm just reminding you not to read what you are going to say. MEC, you are invited to make your remarks.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Mopelo. I usually take on the task of not reading what I'm going to say. I take on that task with a degree of excitement because it doesn't limit me to the prepared text. The risk, however, is that I tend to speak longer. The speaker says, yeah. So, Program Director, the direction is yours. To the patron of the Thabo Mbeki Foundation, and indeed the Provincial Library Heritage President Thabo Mbeki, the chairperson of the foundation, Dr. Pang, they said the host, which is the Speaker of the City of Johannesburg, Councillor Mulwele, my colleague, I nearly said Councillor Mbaliso, because I'm used to saying Councillor. MEC Hlope, Ambassador Mpungu, and all foreign dignitaries here present, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I think it is important to congratulate the City of Johannesburg for its contribution to what is envisioned as a center of and repository of knowledge and information of our history, and indeed a center of architecture of our future as a country and as a continent. A center of celebration of leadership, but also a platform from which we would have the opportunity to critically reflect on the challenges we confront as a continent and indeed as humanity and the entire ecosystem of our planet. The launch of this Provincial Library Heritage Precinct is welcomed warmly and is most opportune for the systematic study and material acceleration of the African Renaissance as both a living concept and practice for the continent's development and transformation as symbolized by the enduring legacies of its patron. In advancement of this structural development and transformation, the Gauteng Department of Economic Development, as a constituent part of the Gauteng City region, on its own comprising Africa's 7th largest economy, is dedicated steadfastly to becoming a gateway for the realization of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. Through this new African single market, South Africa is projected to export over $9 billion worth of manufactured goods into the continent under the agreement by 2035, along with over $3.5 billion worth of processed foods and over $2 billion worth of energy. The Gauteng City region, with its rapidly expanding network of special economic zones, each one anchoring a new industrial corridor, has its gaze set on this new horizon of intra- and inter-African collaboration. In realization of this endeavor, we trust that the Thabo Mbeki Presidential Library and the great minds that will gather here will hopefully help us to see further and see better how to systematically chase this new horizon and the shared benefits it holds in its fold. We are very pleased that this new Provincial Library Heritage Precinct is both engagingly African and deeply internationalist in its conception and realization. We are encouraged equally that it is aesthetically designed by an African-born, globally renowned architect. The program director allowed me to digress a bit from the speech. I should say that we had the privilege, Honorable Speaker, to have the discussion with this architect some time ago. And I'm starting to feel like I'm getting old. I could work about some time ago, and I'm still young. MEC Hlope, where we were discussing the possibility of designing a precinct in Johannesburg that would be a celebration of African architecture, a celebration of African food, and indeed a celebration of its culture. I'm just depositing possibly the need to revive the idea. Fellow Councillor. Moreover, It is gratifying that this library precinct will be accessible to various stakeholders and amenable to diverse ideas and innovations that highlight what it means when it is said that Africa is the genesis for humanity and its demographic dividend holds much promise for the 21st century. It is therefore fitting that this provincial library heritage precinct is designed as a living structure, a research center, an economic and tourism hub to serve its multiple purpose functions. As we prepare for the 2021 United Nations Climate Change Conference, or COP26, it is fitting that this precinct is designed deliberately as a green space and as a genuinely eco-friendly building which sustainably manages scarce natural resources. Excuse me. From here on, we sincerely look forward to the researchers and experts working in partnership with the provincial government and its partners, the municipalities, as part of the Gauteng Global City Region, to find practical and sustainable solutions to address decisively the challenges articulated in the Paris Climate Accord, our country's economic reconstruction and recovery program, and indeed the province's Growing Gauteng Together 2030 strategy. Excuse me. We certainly look forward to hosting vibrant discussions in this space on the implementation of the new Township Economic Development Act that is currently under consideration in the provincial legislature. We look forward to exhibitions and conferences unpacking the impact and implications of the new African city we are building in Lanseria and the vast new developments we are unlocking in the West Rand and in the Vaal. This provincial library heritage precinct is indeed welcomed warmly and enthusiastically as an opportunity to realize the achievable ambitions and reachable goals enshrined in the vision and aspiration of an African Renaissance. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, MEC. And indeed, Mr. President, when we were faced with a difficult time as we were preparing this occasion, as the CEO has said that we got a directive from the late Councillor Matongo that we must proceed. And when you look at the rules and procedures and to follow the constitutional prescript, on the Sunday we did get a confirmation that the Speaker has given us go-ahead, that according to the Constitution and the process followed by the City Council, facilitated amongst others by the Acting City Manager and the CEO, the Councillor, the Speaker, said that based on the mandate given to her, Mr. President, she will proceed with the occasion. And indeed, the partnership with Thabo Mbeki Foundation and the City of Johannesburg, the Memorandum of Understanding was signed, and it was important that this announcement is made. But Mr. President, I must say, as we call on the Councillor and the Speaker of the City of Johannesburg to come and address us, she said to us she has a special message to all of us. Menungeba Mulwele.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Program Director, allow me to acknowledge the presence of the patron of the Thabo Mbeki Foundation, President Thabo Mbeki. Allow me to acknowledge the member of Executive Committee for Economic Development, the former mayor of Johannesburg, Honorable Parks Tau, MEC of the Executive Committee for Sports and Culture, Honorable Mbali Hlophe, good morning. Board Chairperson of Thabo Mbeki Foundation, Dr. Brigalia Bam, Board Member of Thabo Mbeki Foundation, Dr. Geraldine Fraser Muleketi. I was told she was supposed to be here. I'm not sure whether she is still on her way. Chief Executive Officer of the Thabo Mbeki Foundation, Mr. Max Bokwana, Acting City Manager of Johannesburg, Mr. Floyd Brink, the Councillor responsible for economic development in Johannesburg, Bra Thomas Mufugeng, ambassadors, distinguished guests and partners, and the media at large, Mulweni, Dumelang, Sanbonani, Abusheni. This is a great day. You all look sad. I'm worried. Program Director, today we are here to announce and celebrate that the city of Johannesburg is entering into a collaboration with the Thabo Mbeki Foundation, rendering in-kind support to enhance economic growth initiatives through the establishment of the Thabo Mbeki Presidential Heritage Precinct as per the resolution which was approved in Council earlier this year. It is an initiative that both our former and late mayors, Mayor Jeffrey Mulwantwa Makubo, followed by Mayor Jolie D. Matongo, were excited about and looked forward to seeing it to fruition. Together, ladies and gentlemen, brings with it bittersweet feelings because they are both not here to bear witnesses this moment of great significance. May their souls rest in peace. Program Director, this is a Catholic project which also advances the objectives of the Gauteng City region, as mentioned by Honorable Tau, which are underpinned by the pillars of the city's growth and development strategy 2040. It is also an important milestone as it not only invests in and celebrates our heritage, but presents a golden opportunity in our ongoing efforts to continuously promote Johannesburg as a key destination to both locals and visitors. As a strategic tourism and heritage intervention, the collaboration entered today will be integral to key mechanisms and interventions around job creation, SMME opportunities, knowledge advancement, heritage preservation and experience, as well as the betterment of the livelihoods. As previously announced by the Foundation on the 25th November 2020, the Presidential Library is set to build here in North Road, Riviera, where it will pay homage to South Africa's second post-apartheid president, President Thabo Mbeki, with the primary objective of celebrating ancient and contemporary African history. This is where Program Director we are today. The exact site the city has committed to enable it to become a precinct. Ladies and gentlemen, the 5,400 square meter Thabo Mbeki Presidential Library will comprise 2 levels, with one concealed below ground, where the upper level will be housed within ramped earth domes that are designed to evoke a collection of traditional African granaries. Evidently, it will be game changer and a first mover of its kind in diversifying the heritage offering in Johannesburg, and rightfully so, Program Director, because heritage is one of the city's newly identified niche development areas in its first independent tourism strategy approved on the 14th of April 2021. This strategy caters for both tourism demand and supply, with clear implementable recommendations in unlocking tourism economic potential. The fact that the 8 domed structures to be built from rammed earth will distinguish the Thabo Mbeki Presidential Library and enable its positioning as a Mecca of Africa competitively, which will become a must-see landmark feature in Africa, located in South Africa, is a unique selling point for the city of Johannesburg. Commonly, this milestone is seen as an opportunity to realize the ambition of the dreams of President Thabo Mbeki to advance and empower an African renaissance. To the foundation, as your friend in socio-economic development, we share the same principles in this regard and share your view that this work, which will be the first of its kind in Africa, needs to be thought, planned, and built by Africans themselves. Therefore, Program Director, we as the city are honored to be the partners in this good initiative. The world-class project is a place of pride for Africans to knit together fragments of Africa's past. The location for this project has carefully been chosen as Johannesburg, a world-class African city, as you correctly said, Program Director. This immediately brings synergy to the project as the city that intends to move with a high level of alacrity. We see an opportunity of repositioning the city through practical partnerships like this for optimal economic impact. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to make a clarion call to all Africans to get involved in this initiative by contributing to the Buy a Brick campaign. I echo the sentiments of President Mbeki, which ascribes that the first call to action to our stakeholders to realize this vision is the Buy a Brick campaign, a call to action to Africans, especially young people across all races and class, to contribute towards building the Thabo Mbeki Presidential Library. The Buy a Brick campaign demonstrates that indeed all Africans play a pivotal role in building this continent. BRICS Program Director symbolize the building blocks needed to build Africa's renaissance, an apt depiction of what the Thabo Mbeki Presidential Library aims to achieve. The Buy a Brick campaign includes options, packages, and donor levels catering to all, from individuals to corporates. And there are various ways corporates can leverage and maximize the opportunity that comes with partnering with the Thabo Mbeki Foundation. As a registered NPO, a Section 18 certificate is also available. Please refer to our donor levels. Ladies and gentlemen, as a city, we are delighted that we are to be the home of such a significant site and attraction, even more so because in the aftermath of COVID-19 pandemic, we are focused on rethinking, repositioning, and reimagining in order to restart and rebuild tourism, using strategic interventions like establishment of the Thabo Mbeki Presidential Library Heritage Precinct, where the Presidential Library will be located, also as an economic anchor with a pulling factor. Therefore, Johannesburg would have been reimagined in the next normal as a tourism destination. In line with the prioritization of achieving increased visitor arrivals in the city and contributing towards our growth targets, the City of Johannesburg's strategic objective in relation to tourism is to promote Johannesburg as a leading lifestyle and business destination in Africa with a global competitive edge. Tourism Program Director remains an important sector to this city, and by supporting this initiative, we want to achieve differentiation through a unique diversified offering in retaining our current market share, as well as expand domestic, regional, and global market share. As the current administration, we are also dedicated to creating an enabling environment to achieve economic growth and improve investor confidence in Johannesburg. The Presidential Library is really the landing in Johannesburg and is Africa's most valuable continental asset. Africans, let us all own it with pride. The time is now to embrace, acknowledge, and receive the epicenter of African Renaissance. In closing, Program Director, I would like to take this opportunity to highlight that Joburg is up there with the best. Not only are we the most visited city in Africa since 2013, according to the MasterCard Global Destination Cities Index, Joburg is also the only city on the continent that has made it into the Euromonitor International's top 100 cities ranking 37th in January 2017. Other recent accolades for Destination Joburg include making TripAdvisor's top 10 list in the Traveler's Choice Awards for Best Destinations in Africa, May 2018. Maboneng named as one of the world's coolest suburbs by Forbes magazine, 9 July 2018. That's Joburg for you. In June 2021, 7th Street here in Melville emerged as the one of the world's coolest cities by Global Time Out magazine, ranking 12th and taking Africa's top spot among the world's coolest top 30 streets. This program director, after making it to the International Digital Magazine's list of the world's 40 coolest and kindest neighborhoods in 2020, ranking 33rd. So, it's not difficult to understand why those who live in Joburg love it, and those who visit our mighty city never forget it. We look forward to being the home to this world-class African project in a world-class African city. Thank you very much. Ngiyabonga, ndikulebuwa, bayadanki, ndiyabulela Program Director.
Mr. President, we will request to approach the podium. The speaker wants to deliver. Okay.
A token of appreciation for choosing Joburg.
Well, we are just following the health protocol, Mr. President, as directed by President Ramaphosa. Then take the pillow. Take the pillow. Oh, geez, okay. You can open, Mr. President. You can lift the lid, Mr. President. You can just lift the lid.
Oh, just lift it. Oh, all right.
The lid.
We're bring two complications.
We're bring two complications. You see that? That is what we're...
As the President and the Speaker are still standing, may I invite the the CEO of the foundation and the acting city manager to approach the city of Johannesburg banner in order to sign the collaborative certificates. Mr. President, the Speaker and Memulwele, may we invite you and the President just to observe the signing of the signing ceremony. We will request Councillor Tau, Me Brigadier Bam, Le Metlope to join. No, they are signing there. Yes, Mr. Can play by a break so that we give it.
He's coming now. We're playing the by break.
Yeah, so that at least we give the President a few minutes. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you very much, Speaker. As the Speaker has spoken about by a break, it is my singular honor to request your attention. Please pay attention to the display. Thank you.
We challenge young people in South Africa to join us.
To never forget the power of education and knowledge.
We challenge young people
to never forget
the power of history.
It is when we can appreciate and learn from history that we can redefine who we are and be the owners of our destinies.
So it's important to understand the nature of what would be in this library of this kind. It has to be an instrument to help to change South Africa for the better. Must be an instrument for change. A place where, for instance, the young people must come and say, how do we respond to today's challenges?
So we challenge young people to join us as we build the Thabo Mbeki Presidential Library.
Let us take the baton, and as young people today, continue being change agents.
We challenge young people.
I challenge young people.
We challenge young people.
I challenge young people too.
To buy a brick so we can build together.
At this juncture, it is important that we introduce to you the project leader for the Buy a Brick, Pindi.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Pindi Lendlovu-Tapula. Like you've heard, I am the project lead for the Buy a Brick campaign. For us, it's so important that as Africans, we actually say we built this ourselves. And the nice thing about this, if you put a minimum of 100 rands in this jar, your name will be on the wall of honor. I'm really excited for the digital version, but make sure you put your money in here so that we can recognize you as a builder of our continent. Please, I need your details. Don't let me walk around with an empty jar. I'm really excited to welcome you guys in the Builders Corner. Thank you so much.
The CEO said we are on a working session. And I'm very happy I see that there is some movement. Ladies and gentlemen, Chairperson of the Thabo Mbeki Foundation, the Speaker of the City of Johannesburg, it is our honor now to request our patron, President Mbeki, to make few remarks to us. Mr. President.
Thanks, Chief. And let me say, it's difficult to talk to this thing. Let me say thanks a lot to the Speaker, Johannesburg, and our colleagues from Gauteng government. They are our hosts today, we are guests. They are guests. But thank you very much indeed for agreeing the city and the province to host this library. Indeed, practically, it would not happen because with all the rules and regulations, you got to need lots of permissions from the city. And if they had said, no, this is a residential area, you can't build here, there would be no library. But thanks indeed for the support and the cooperation. And indeed, Madam Speaker, as you said, and as Max said, the mayors, Jeff Makubu, Jolide Matongo, both of them, we had very, very good engagement with them. Parkstow referred to the discussion that they'd had with the architect of the library, David Ajaye. David was born in Dar es Salaam. In that sense, he's a Tanzanian. So Ambassador Mbongwe, who's sitting next to me there, who's a Tanzanian, is very proud to claim him. But the reason David was born in Tanzania was because His father was a diplomat. So he was, when David was born, the father was the Ghana ambassador to Tanzania. So this is a Tanzanian Ghanaian, okay, who is our architect. And then there was a coup d'etat in Ghana, and Kwame Nkrumah was chased away. So the parents ended up in England. So that's where David grew up. So in that sense, he became also an Englishman. But because he's always been an African, he's now back in Ghana. And I'm sure all of us heard him as he spoke. One of the occasions when he was here, when all of us discussing the conceptualization of this place, we took him to Freedom Park in Pretoria, or Tshwane. I don't know how many of us have been there. I can see one hand, 2 hands, 3 hands, 4, 5, 6. That's better than 1. 7, 8. David said he had never ever seen anything like that. Walking around Freedom Park and with the people at the park, they're explaining everything. And he was saying this is a place which all Africans need to visit. Because he hadn't seen anything like this which captured so much what it is to be an African. I was very glad when the mayor talked about tourism, or the speaker. Sorry, I made you mayor. This country, as you know, is marketed everywhere in the world as for the sun, the beaches, the elephants and the leopards and the hyenas and all that, the wildlife. But I keep saying that we are more than that. Why don't we tell these visitors, come to South Africa, we'll take you to Mapungube. Because here you have this extraordinary place where you find, the golden rhino. What it tells is that these South Africans then, many, many centuries ago, mined gold and were able to fashion it, and that's why you got a golden rhino. This is high technology, those years. And you could see at Mapungube that they were trading with China. Why don't we tell the whole world that, look, come. Yeah, sure, you'll see the elephants and the lions and go and lie on the beach, but there's this other South Africa. We compete with Tanzania, with Kenya, with Chad, about this definition, the cradle of humanity. Yeah. But people let them come and see. These are the origins of human beings. But we don't tell that kind of story. Come and see the lions and lie on the beach. Yeah. Many millions of years ago, the Karoo was flooded. Very dry now. And that's why you would find there enormous stone fossils, animals and plants that got drowned and over the whatever have turned into stone. So okay, they dig up the stone fossils. You see the plant and animal life that used to be there. Dinosaurs and this and that and the other. It's said that 2 areas in the world which show the origin of the earth. And one of them is the Barberton Mountains. I mean, I'm saying, why don't we say all of that? Come to South Africa. When you've had enough sunburn, let's go and see where the earth, very earth was formed, where humanity emerged. We will be able to say, Speaker, come to Johannesburg. Come to this tourism place here to see how the South Africans, the Africans are engaging one another in the context of their past, saying, but what do we do about ourselves? I'm sure that all of us here, certainly the South Africans present here today, would, I hope, be very, very conscious of this. That indeed one of the main challenges we face is talking to one another to say, what do we do about ourselves? About this country, lots and lots, too many problems. Very many bad things, strange things, bad things. What do we do? And this library, the place where we can engage one another like that. Maybe draw inspiration from Julius Nyerere, from Kenneth Kaunda, from Kwame Nkrumah, and so on. But in the end, we must be able to say among ourselves as Africans, what do we do about ourselves? And let the rest of the world come and maybe learn a lesson that this is what the Africans do. I want to say thanks a lot to everybody for coming, but thanks to the Johannesburg and Gauteng for being our hosts today. And I am quite certain that the project will be done. It's going to cost a lot of money, lots and lots of those 100 rands. But I'm sure it will be done. Just one last thing about our architect, which I think says something about the person and this project. The northern suburbs, all of us know Johannesburg. The northern suburbs of Johannesburg are very heavily forested. It's not all of the areas of Johannesburg. So it has no trees, or very few. But this part of the world has lots of trees. And the architect has insisted. You see, what he showed there is the buildings on 4 plots. 1, 2 plots that side, the plot number 3, plot number 4 behind me. And he has insisted that the construction of these buildings must not result in one single tree destroyed. So if you looked at that picture, you can't see these trees. But what it actually means is some of them, very old trees, have to be uprooted and replanted. Because it's insisting not one tree must be destroyed. So I'm saying that says something about the architect, and that says something about what we want to build there, here. Or may I say the last thing about the architect? No, that was the second last. The last is a matter that the speaker referred to, She said something Ethland. I don't know that English word. But what she was talking about, you saw those buildings are red. Because the architect said, look, what we must do, as he talked about Africa's past, this formation of the African person, who are we as Africans? And he went and had told his history, what he had done to look at South African and African history and so on, and came with this concept which resulted in these round buildings. In Xhosa, those buildings are called Amanqukwala. Manqukwala is like that, with a little door. But the reason they are red is because he said, let's also go back to the traditional technology that the forefathers and foremothers and so on used. Mud brick. So we objected. We said, no, but David, you can't do that. This important place may be built of mud brick. So he said, look, I'm insisting that let's do as much as possible not to lose our past, our history, what this thing which made us Africans. And this technology is important. And Mr. President, he said, what is this word? I forgive you. Yes, indeed, we take the red soil. But the manner in which we process it, it makes it harder than the hardest cement brick. But it's red soil. That's why the buildings are red. But it's a celebration of this African being. By a Tanzanian architect, a Ghanaian architect, British architect. But he says now he also wants to be a South African architect. But thanks a lot for coming, and thanks to the city, thanks to the province. Thanks a lot. Milo, here you are.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. As we call on Ntate Palazzi to give us vote of thanks, Mr. President, we are happy to say the world has seen the work of the foundation before we even started the construction. The World Green Building Week has already recognized this design, this initiative, this project, and it has been registered in the World Green Building Week by the architect. Secondly, the winners of the 27th Crystal Award globally has also recognized the design, the initiative, the project as a green project. So, Mr. President, we do already are in the world archives. We are already in the world media. And this initiative, Mr. President, will always be the epicenter for African Renaissance. Repalati.
Mopelo, it is indeed both a privilege and an honor for me to thank you on behalf of the Board of Trustees of the Thabo Mbeki Foundation for attending this joint event to the TM Foundation and the City of Johannesburg. As TMF, we are deeply grateful for the support the City of Joburg has committed towards ensuring the success of Thabo Mbeki Presidential Library. And I think we've had it time and again from the horse's mouth. I sometimes battle with some of these saying horse's mouth, but we've had it from our leaders. I think it's easier that way. We intend to commit ourselves as a foundation to ensure that the establishment of such establishment, constitution as the TML, adds value and promotion to the African continent. It continues to retain this character of being a melting pot of cultures which define who we are. It is our hope that this partnership will inspire other partners from both the public and private sector to contribute to this transformational legacy project that is first of its kind. And I think we're encouraged by MEC. I think on 3 occasions in your speech, you spoke about the provincial library. You took ownership of that. You took it to Gauteng, and you don't see it as national, but to us, we don't mind that. But what we appreciate is that you have taken ownership, and therefore, you will provide MEC. Thank you. I also like to thank the corporate friends that are here from Old Mutual Foundation. We appreciate your support in coming here. It shows because, as we said earlier on, this is an African project by the Africans for the Africans. And charity begins at home. When we visit and knock on your doors seeking help, please accept us that we are doing it for you, and not only for you, but the future of this country. Kwame Capital is here. Thank you very much. I think you heard our CEO mentioning that when we had a meeting with Sir David, it took 10 minutes for him to make a decision. Now, can you beat that? We're challenging you to beat Sir David because it took it 10 minutes already. He was with us, all right? And we also like to thank MEC Klope of Arts and Culture, and also to mention that, Mr. President, that Dr. Dakile and Ms. Ramokopa have undertaken and they're prepared to build an endowment for this foundation, which I think is important, and it will ensure sustainability of this project, and thank you very much. Our vibrant young Mrs. Tapula on Buy a Brick. There she is over that side. And I think you've had a clip on Buy a Brick. And we're saying this is your library. For everyone, it can be whatever you are able to commit to, let you be counted as well. Okay? Now, as the Board of Trustees, we believe the Thabo Mbeki Presidential Library creates an opportunity for more strategic collaboration amongst the Thabo Foundation as one hand, and on the other side, government, business, and civil society on the others, to further catalyze African renewal in an alliance-coordinated manner. And you've heard much about Sir David Ajayi. You've heard about the presentation, you saw the presentation, you know who he is. But what we're saying is that we are very jealous of those skills. We can't let those skills just go. And that's why Mr. Mpeti has agreed to work with Sir David. Mr. Marujela, maybe other people don't know you, just raise your hand. There he is. He's a South African architect that's working very closely with Sir David so that those skills do not leave this country. Now, as we depart this side of the TML, I'd like to leave you with a few words written by lowly clergy in August of 1862 as he launched the very first newspaper by Africans called Indaba. He wrote, "The deeds of the nations are worth more than cattle herds, money, and even food. Did we not form nations in the past? Did we not have our traditional leaders? What has happened to the wisdom of these leaders? Did we have poets? Where is poetry? Was there no witchcraft in the past? Did we not fight wars? Who were the heroes? Where is the distinctive regalia of the royal regiment? Did we not hunt? Why was there meat of the breast of the eland and the buffalo reserved for royalty? Where are the people to teach us our history, our knowledge, and wisdom? Let even the spirit of the departed return to bless us with the great gift of our heritage, which we must preserve. I'd like to thank everyone who has made it possible for this occasion and say we are all in this together, and let's forge ahead. Thank you, Mr. Program Director. You know who that was.
Thank you very much, Ndate Palazzi. Mr. President, we are going to request yourself to lead us so that the speaker, as you have done, Mr. President, previously, to show our guest this important precinct. We are going to request you, led by the CEO and Mr. Brink, to the side. Because of the processes, most of us as guests will remain. The speaker, the two members of council, but I'm going to request, Mama Bragalia Bam knows the place, but we are going to request the Excellency Ambassador Mpungwe, Didier, and the other colleagues to join Mr. President to go to the site where we were talking about, and the speaker will actually be showing live the actual site we are talking about that we are signing. Mr. President, as you take leave, Ndate Sipho Hostix Mabuza will remain with us and the rest of the attendees. I thank you very much for your attention, for your presence, Mr. President. The CEO will lead, yes, sir. As the President is taking leave for us and the entourage, lunch will be served and the refreshments will be provided. Thank you very much. Ndate Palazzi.
Scosan. Ladies and gentlemen, it's either we are performing for you because you're listening, or we don't perform, you continue with your conversations, and when you're ready, we'll come on stage and perform for you. You have to make that choice. It's either you continue with your conversations, or we stop playing. Already people are gone, and the remaining lot, there's just conversations around here. This is not acceptable for us, sorry.
Dream of a land my soul is from. I hear a hand stomp on the drum. Beautiful girl, elegant boy, dancing for joy. Beautiful world, shades of delight. Cocoa girl reaches the night. Afro blue. Whispering trees echo the sound, passionately tender reply. Lovers in flight, upwards they climb, they dancing for joy. Beautiful world, shades of delight. Cocoa girl reaches the night. Afro blue, shades of delight. Cocoa girl reaches the night. Afro blue. Two young lovers dance face to face with undulating grace. They gently sway, they slip away to some secluded place. shades of delight. Cocoa yo reaches the night. Afro blue, shades of delight. Cocoa yo reaches the night. Afro blue. Lovers dance face to face with undulating grace. They gently sway, they slip away to some secluded place. Shades of delight, cold, cold you reaches the night. Afro blue, shades of delight, cocoa you reaches the night. Afro blue, shades of delight, cocoa with you reaches the night. Afro blue.
Yeah, those who are responding actually go to jazz clubs. I don't know about the rest. It's those that have a collection in their homes. Gawe, what happened to you? You decided to go out and then you come back. I would have expected you to stay here. Where is loyalty? You always think you have loyal friends until you actually come to these top level functions. Then, you realize, okay, these are the friends that you... People get ready wherever you are. People get ready no matter how far. Everywhere in the villages, people are dancing in the streets. It's the beginning of a new life. You can turn it up on the radio. Shiggish, 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 oh shiggish, 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 oh shiggish. In the streets of Tanzania, right across the Limpopo, it's the beginning of a new day. New day. So turn it up on the radio. Stomp your feet to the beat, feel the heat. Stomp your feet to the beat, feel the heat. Stomp your feet to the beat, feel the heat. Stomp your feet to the beat, feel the heat. Oh, shiggish,
Shigesha!
Y'all ready for the interview? Seth Palatse. I khalotse le go sekolong wa itse ga o kgathale o bua rra. La re gopella o ntse o le busy wa bua mo. Wa itse mathata a batho ba rutegileng ga ba itse le gore go na le go go bitswang music. Thank you very much. That was our last performance. Mr. CK03MT, GP. Mr. CK03MT, you're blocking the road for those who want to go. Thank you. Thank you for those who've stayed, and we really appreciate you. It's important.
Bachavala mame.